You spin digital, you spin traditional. You spin print, you spin, now you just need to know how much and how much of a push you should give each one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Welcome to Asks. My guest today is the head of marketing at WeWork, Angie Geffen. Such a pleasure having you here.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. So, Angie, you're originally from New York.
Yes, New York City.
And you're now in Israel.
Yes.
And you're managing you are the head of marketing in this region.
Correct.
In WeWork.
Yes.
In my opinion, WeWork is one of the example of such a great example of how company DNA can become globally. So, in your opinion, what's the magic of WeWork?
The magic of WeWork is bringing people together. It's creating a global community where people can actually interact and work and yet have separate silos and separate targets for their companies. They see each other in the hallways, they share the same space, they create naturally organic meetings one amongst each other, and they inspire each other. That's the source.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And as a business, creating that culture, I'm sure it's very hard marketing-wise, and you do that daily.
Yeah.
So can you elaborate a little bit more what's your challenges at marketing at WeWork?
Head of marketing at WeWork is definitely a privilege and an opportunity
Thanks.
for us to experience how to market a young brand in hyper growth in a very dynamic country. So marketing WeWork in London is completely different than marketing WeWork in Israel, and that's why we regionalize things. We're very laser focused. And in Israel, taking WeWork and having the culture and the world of startups, mid-market, and enterprise companies understanding the value of WeWork.
It's a good example.
Yeah.
Is it possible to duplicate the DNA of one office to another?
I think that when people join a place like WeWork, they understand that they're part of a much larger community. They could be located somewhere in London, but they actually know that they have friends all around the world. With over 400,000 members, you know you have a partner to work with, whether it's in the United States, Canada, the whole Asian market, and obviously Israel.
Yeah. So you're the head of marketing of this area?
Yes, I'm head of marketing for this region, which we mainly focus on the Israeli market. This market is definitely dynamic, energetic, and fits the vibe of WeWork.
WeWork in Israel is the headquarters, or is it New York?
Our headquarters are in New York. We also have a headquarters in London. However, Israel definitely makes a mark on WeWork because we bring in the energy and the vibe of entrepreneurial new ideas for WeWork. So many times if we're doing something new, it'll start in Israel and then transform itself to a tradition in other WeWorks in the world.
So can you say that Israel is the lab of WeWork to test if things going well or not?
I think by nature this country is a lab. You know, this is Startup Nation #2, and I think that Silicon Valley is definitely a sister city. It has been since the dot-com age, and Israel has proven to be an entrepreneurial country. And so by nature, those who work here at WeWork are definitely the ones who start things out, test things out.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think the story of WeWork is such a great example of how two young entrepreneurs can change the world and make such a big disruption of all the markets, such as real estate. Can you elaborate more about the story of how WeWork started and where you see it's going and evolving with WeGrow and WeLive?
Fundamentally, WeWork started as a co-working space, so to speak, as now the market knows it. But in fact, WeWork opened up a vertical in this world, a vertical in where people sit and collaborate and work together. But WeWork is beyond just co-working. WeWork is also about living in the same environment and also educating our children in the same environment. And that's where WeLive and WeGrow was born. Yeah. So you can have a dynamic in future buildings where you'll have a WeGrow and a WeLive and a WeWork. And so this communal environment allows each other to feed the energy from one to the other and get excited about each other's work, our lifestyles, the way we raise our children, the way we create families, and the way we spend our days.
Oh, it's such an amazing story. How you can architect this kind of marketing for such a inner companies inside this brand? this company brand?
Yeah, definitely the brand is complicated in a sense that we have different dimensions. In Israel, we are currently on WeWork. We definitely have future plans of having WeLive and WeGrow in Israel as well. So right now we're marketing WeWork, the actual, the community.
Yeah.
The community itself for people to come and work together. And we focus a lot about, less about selling a desk or a chair or a sofa or a space, and more about understanding that you're part of a global environment, that you're part of a global team, that you're never alone, that you have partners to rely on, that you can work together with and consult with. And this is really the big part of WeWork.
I think that's the main competitive advantage, because there are so many offices now that offer that WeWork solution, but it's not WeWork. So how you distinguish WeWork from all the other? Is it just global environment, or is it something else?
I would definitely say one of the backbones of WeWork's success is its technology. It has hundreds of developers all around the world, a major site of developers in San Francisco, another huge site here in Israel of developers, and all they do is think about the best way possible for our members to be able to use the space in an exceptionally technological manner.
Yeah.
So if it's measurements, if it's optimization, if it's be eco-friendly, if it's the process of billing, that entire process is based on technology. WeWork is the backbone of how technology meets humanizing how people interact. And so that's the biggest differentiator.
Do you feel your background in technology helps you make better decisions in marketing these days, as WeWork is a technology company?
Yeah, definitely. Working in technology in all different locations. I've worked in Silicon Valley, in London, in New York, in Israel, mostly in the technology environment. And if it's fintech or ad tech, high tech or low tech, it's based on technology. And when you walk into an environment of actually marketing a space or a community around the world and in Israel, when it's based on technology, then the product is a technology.
Yeah.
Part of it is built out of buildings and glass and aluminum and furniture, but the other part is putting people together. And that's when the technology comes in, and that's where we thrive.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate how your day look like? As a head of marketing in such a global company, I'm sure you have such a great challenges you're dealing with. Can you elaborate what's your challenges in this market you're working on?
Well, I would definitely say most of my experience is international marketing. However, it is the strongest tool that I have to give to the Israeli market, because the expectation of people from WeWork is to be an international brand and to externalize the fact that we have so many buildings in 27 countries, in 100 cities. All this huge impact of globalness, people in the Israeli market want to see in the WeWorks in Israel. So when we're marketing WeWork in Israel, we're marketing an international brand. We're marketing an international message. We localize, but we externalize our global.
Yeah, it's like pulling from the opposite direction.
Yeah.
One globally and one locally.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you tell a little bit about your background, how you started, what you studied?
I studied economics and international relations, and then marketing and sales and product.
Where did you study?
I studied in university here in Israel, bar-Ilan, and in Tel Aviv, and I also studied in Cornell University. So I have these 3 degrees, and they're all across between economics and marketing and sales, and then product and technology. So when you take all that and you mix it all together, marketing a product, selling a product that's based on technology.
It's exactly what you do now.
It's exactly what I do.
Amazing.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting.
So what is your first job?
What was my first job? I think it was a babysitter, my first job.
What age?
I think it was 12 or 13, and then afterwards I was a lifeguard, so it starts with the basics like everybody else, working in a camp, working in a store. I might have been a waitress at a certain stage, but basically the career was working in a technology company.
So you like that?
From marketing, I started marketing since pretty much 99, 2000, and it's been in marketing ever since.
Where you were before WeWork?
I was at ad tech.
Ad tech?
Yeah. And then fintech before that, and then high tech before that. And I mean, companies such as Intel, where we created the Bluetooth at the time. So I was on the marketing team that marketed Bluetooth in 2000.
Which is a huge penetration for the market.
It's a game changer. It changed the world of technology.
People take it for granted, but it's take huge amount of energy to penetrate with such a technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bluetooth, disc key, or whatever.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. So it was things like marketing, things like that, or it was even marketing. I worked for Bank of America, and so working in the world of fintech and creating the whole environment of financial technology and selling those products.
Cool.
And then there was a stage where I worked for ICE, which is the owner of the New York Stock Exchange. And so the world of finance and understanding how you sell, how your clients like Facebook who are on the New York Stock Exchange or Alibaba or anybody who's your client, helping them to market their products as well.
What is the main differences in your eyes in the Canadian market and the United States market when you market to these regions?
Well, I would have to say the best person to answer would be the head of marketing for Canada and the head of marketing for United States. But as an American, and I've done global marketing for many years, I think the Canadian nation is very forgiving, very accepting. They're willing to learn new things. They're not necessarily prone to be proactive, but they are very reactive. Mm-hmm. So that's the Canadian market. And the American market, that's very generalized. I mean, we're talking about over 400 million people. But the American market is very simplified, as opposed to the Israeli market is very complex. They expect intelligence and they expect cheekiness in their marketing. And in the United States, you just need to be straight up and blunt. And the reason for that is because they have so much in their face. And Israel is not far behind.
Yeah.
Not far behind at all.
Israel is like a small extension of the States, in my opinion.
Some say that it's the 51st country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What companies represent, for, in your opinion, best marketing in the market right now?
Well, it depends on the maturity of the brand itself. Because I can say Coca-Cola is a supersonic brand.
But do you think currently they're doing a good job? As
far as marketing, as they used to,
yeah.
I think there's ups and downs, there's peaks, there's seasonality for Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, summertime is a big peak for them because it has an association of good feeling, good vibe.
Yeah.
You know, winter might not be their best time, but I don't worry about them. I think they're doing just fine.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think that there's no one particular brand that I could say, wow, I like what they're doing per se, because a lot of people are doing a good job. They find courage and they speak out in their marketing more than ever. I think people need to be careful with social media.
What do you mean?
They could be very abusive in social media. They don't know the balance between providing information and allowing somebody to be entertained.
It's a good insight.
Yeah. A lot of times people you can really tell where the brand is as far as its development, because if they're saying a lot and many details about themselves, then they have no confidence in what they're doing and they're at the beginning stages.
Yeah.
But if you're doing conceptual marketing, brand marketing,
when you talk about the
simplified messaging, when you talk about the users in front of you, then a mature brand can let go of itself and know who's in front of them. So once they know who's in front of them, then they can communicate the words that that person wants to hear. And that's what WeWork does. WeWork doesn't talk about the greatness of WeWork. It talks about the greatness of you inside of a WeWork.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a core DNA marketing.
Yeah, it is. And it's different. And you really need to understand the difference.
So where do you get your inspiration from?
I don't need much inspiration. I'm in love with marketing. This is who I am. This is what I've always done. This is always what I'll probably do. In my personal life, I market whatever I love to my friends and family. At work, I market everything to do with WeWork. It's just a nature, I think. It's looking at something and saying, wow, everyone has to have this. So I think it's like an Olympic gold medalist. Beyond the fact that they train from a very young age for so many hours a day, so many days a week, if they don't have that one anatomical addition to themselves, they can never be that gold medalist. They have to have a natural something. They have to have a natural bounce in their knees, or light bones, or easy dimensions to get that triple spin in the air.
Yeah.
If they don't have that natural thing, then they're never going to be a gold medalist. For myself, I market even on my personal life. So I get excited about a product and I share.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah?
Yeah. WeWork is still a startup. It's a young company, but it became so big and such a. I think it started a movement. It's like a culture these days. How these things happen? I'm sure lots of startups would like to hear that.
Well, yeah, definitely WeWork is in hyper growth. Just to give you some ideas, I was employee number 2,000 and change just about a year and a half ago. Now we're almost 11,000 employees. I mean, don't count me on the number. It grows every day, but it's definitely hyper growth. So we're acting like a startup. We do things really fast and really quickly.
How's that possible?
I think that headquarters allows us to regionalize what we do. They understand that we're the experts in the market. And so they allow us to be nimble and be quick and not give us too much of a clear, structured framework. They give us some sort of basis, but they allow us to customize locally. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So how can young startups or mature startups can learn something from WeWork and inspired by it and become and make it their tool of marketing?
I think that people want to do marketing but don't understand why or how. They conclude that all of marketing has to be done in social media. And yes, Facebook and Google definitely takes the 80% of the attention in the world. However, when you're working in a startup, focus on what your message is, that one message. Figure it out. Keep it simple. Don't get complicated, because when you're meeting someone and they ask you what your startup does, answer them with one sentence. Here's an example. Instagram, what does it do? I could say it in one sentence. Facebook, what does it do? I could say it in one sentence. WeWork, what does it do? I could say it in one sentence.
Yeah.
So even if you're a technology startup, or if you're creating rugs the most fashionable way, what's the one thing your company does?
But I think finding the positioning and messaging for a company is very hard. To put it in one sentence, not many people can do that.
Yeah.
Can do that even good.
Yeah.
So I think what they need to understand the mindset behind putting it in one sentence. I think you mentioned it before that companies should talk about the value for the customer and not about themselves.
Right.
Because if they talk about themselves, it's not interesting and it's not relevant for most people. But I think if they're talking about the value for others, that make that sentence, that line, very powerful.
Yes. Well, I can't expect every startup that doesn't have a marketing professional in their team to come up with that sentence. But I do suggest startups to sit with someone who's a marketing specialist and a strategist for a couple of sessions, a couple of hours. It's worth the money, because that marketing person will give you focus as to where you're going and why you're doing the things you're doing.
So true.
And oftentimes in startups, we're victims of our own language. What does that mean? We talk about work inside of the startup with different terminologies and different slangs. And then we assume that if we go market these words, people will understand. But they don't.
That's right.
They don't understand. You can only imagine how alienated someone will see an ad if I would tell them about the technology inside the walls of WeWork. You have to talk about what the benefit is in one sentence to your target audience, and don't lose focus.
Yeah. I think they should go to junior kindergarten and talk to these children, 5 years old, and tell them what they do. If the children don't understand, it's not a good marketing.
That's a really good idea. Yeah, simplify.
Don't use technology terms inside your one-liner.
No, don't.
So you need to have it's revealing your value.
Yeah.
So.
And oftentimes startups forget to say why they do the things they do. They're so stuck on saying what they do. I do this, I do this, I do that, and I tell all the unique selling points of the product and all the features and all its capabilities and all its, how it comes together with the API and the SDK.
It's finding your why. Simon Sinek said it perfectly. It's finding your why. Yeah. And there is so many people that can help you doing that, and it's worth the money.
It's definitely worth the money.
Yeah. So, what is your next step, your next challenges in WeWork? Because you've done such an amazing job. You have such an amazing story in marketing. What challenge do you conflict with? Because it looks from the side, looks like everything is so good and happy and simple, but I'm sure you have challenges.
I think my biggest passion, our biggest passion right now is helping enterprise companies and mid-sized market companies understand the value of WeWork. Companies that are focused on growth, and they bind themselves to a situation where they are stuck in an office where there's no positive energy and no foot traffic coming in and out and getting that global experience. And if they would come to a WeWork, a company size like 100 people, a company size like 50 people, or even 500 people, then I think that they would understand the benefit of being part of a larger picture like WeWork.
Yeah, I think the human dynamics in those offices is such an important energy for companies.
It's tremendous.
People don't put it in the Excel.
No, they don't.
But
just imagine a law firm of 50 people sitting in an old building with,
only law firms.
And
Lawyers.
And only lawyers.
Yeah.
I don't know about the excitement in the office, but I can tell you that if they do sit in a WeWork, 50 lawyers in a WeWork, the amount of clientele that they would get is tenfold.
Yeah.
Everyone says the same thing when they come to WeWork. Our business grows and grows and grows. And it's not only clients from Israel, it's clients from all over the world. They use our technology app and they connect with other members and they feel like they're part of the family, and there's a sense of trust. Because when you're part of a community and you might not know that person, but they're part of the same world that you live in, you trust them.
How do you create that trust? It sounds very simple, but I think if now a marketing director sits and listens to this interview and you want to understand how to create trust with his audience, how do you do that?
Simple. Keep things simple. It all rolls back to the messaging.
So it's all marketing.
And
a kick-ass product.
And a kick-ass product, yes.
Of course.
But marketing can also market a product that's not so kick-ass.
Yeah.
But if they tells the story right, it can work.
It's going to be a game changer.
It's going to be a game changer.
Yeah. What's your advice for older marketing experts? Because I think, in my opinion, from what I'm hearing, is that they feel like it's a youngster's game now. So they don't understand technology, they came from offline background, it's very challenging for them, and they are like afraid to have dirt on their hands. So what do you think about that?
I say, first of all, get your hands dirty. Get your hands dirty all the time. It's really important to do that. Yes, you do escalate in your career all the time. You're growing and growing for those who want it. Not everybody wants to be a manager. Not everybody wants to be a VP or a CEO. Some people are really happy just being managed, and that doesn't make them a bad employee. The opposite, it makes them a content employee, somebody that knows where they want to be.
Yeah.
But as you're growing, you need to understand what's going on in the ground all the time. So it's like a shovel. Dig in, pull out for a couple of years. Dig in, pull out for a couple of years. WeWork definitely allows employees to do that. I definitely get my hands dirty every day at work. And the reason for that is because you make better decisions. Understanding what's going on up here, understanding what's going on down here, and you make the right decision in the middle. It's essential and it's imperative to understand the world of technology in marketing. And yes, there are a lot of young people sitting on the platforms and optimizing campaigns, but I encourage all persons who are in the world of marketing and have never done digital marketing, it's almost too late. I mean, my first website was in 1998. Have you ever heard of Netscape Navigator?
Netscape?
Netscape Navigator?
No.
Netscape Navigator was one of the first, if not the first, Explorers or Chrome. It was a browser.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Netscape I remember. Navigator, it's like a feature in it?
Netscape.
Oh, it was the browser.
It was just called Netscape Navigator.
Yeah, of course I remember Netflix.
Yeah.
It was.
So all my colleagues in America, they were, doing traditional marketing of print, billboard, events, strategic marketing, product marketing, and I said, hey guys, listen, there's this whole world of technology out there. We can communicate to people, laser target them on digital. It's growing, it's going there. Get on the bandwagon. And most of my colleagues said, no, it's measurable. Marketing isn't measurable. It's something that you create. It's an awareness. And
it's both.
And that's the magic about it. It's both.
Yeah.
You know those magicians that you have to spin the plates all the time and keep all the plates on the pin?
Yeah.
Like that? That's what marketing is like today. You spin digital, you spin traditional. You spin print, now you just need to know how much, and how much of a push you should give each one.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good metaphor.
Yeah. It's that game.
Yeah.
And it's also, you know, how you split your budget.
It's a good insight.
So, yeah.
Angie, it was a pleasure.
Pleasure as well.
We'll see you next week.
I just see the world a little different. My own state of mind. I just take the life I'm living soon.